Good afternoon, Mr. Gelber. How are you?
Yes, I am fine, thank you. The weather is rather chilly this morning, but it will be warming up and they expect good weather by the weekend. The one thing you can't manage is the weather. I mean, talking of management, how's everybody paid the rent? Even though there is this terrible virus, they must pay the rent. My father, his name was Jaime, that's what his tenants called him. He was a rent collector. The one thing I always remember him saying was that whatever the excuse he said, you say, I'm sorry, you're sorry to hear that, but you must pay the rent. He was a great rent collector. The day he died, he was still collecting rent. He was one of 11 children. Imagine 11 little mouths and his mother, who had a very big appetite. She was a very large woman, but she was happy, always busy. Just imagine 11 kids and the rent to pay. Anyway, where was I? Oh, the rent. Well, Mr. Hennison.
Well, not bad. Only 2 haven't paid the rent.
Only 2? It might be only 2 to you, but these rents are my lifeblood. 2 is disastrous. They must pay the rent. Once they stop, they will never pay. I believe the government is helping these tenants. They must pay this rent. Now, I see on your statement you gave it to me this month, the new tenant on the 2-bedroom flat in High Road wanted a new fridge. Mr. Hennison, I've had that fridge for 15 years. It's never gone wrong. It is a Frigidaire. Very good make, very reliable. I see you bought a new conditioning one for £89, inclusive of VAT. You didn't get my permission. You could have got something on eBay for half the price. I must stress, Mr. Hennison, that anything over £50, you must get my permission. Money doesn't grow on trees, you know. Talking of trees, Mr. Hennison, I see from the statement that one of the tenants wanted a lawnmower, and you told you told him you'd get 5 separate quotes. A lawnmower? I mean, this tenant always wants things. I remember 3 years ago he wanted a new wardrobe. What was wrong with the old one? It's been in that flat for 10 years. How can it fall to pieces? Please keep an eye on this tenant. If he is so keen on gardening, he can buy his own lawnmower. He can take it with him when he leaves.
Fine, I agree with you. These tenants are liberty takers. We are trying our best. It's difficult times.
Difficult times? My parents, they worked themselves into the ground. They worked themselves into the ground. They never complained. They didn't have time to complain. Always busy. Like my wife, she's very well organised. Every month, she checks on a Monday, she checks my bank statements by phone. Do you know how long it takes? I have 10 different bank accounts and six different building societies. Takes us the whole day. And then on Tuesday, she checks my portfolio of shares. I am no Warren Buffett, but due to this horrible virus, it is not a virus, it is a plague on my homes, not to mention flats. It's a Holocaust. I've lost thousands and thousands this week alone. I can't sleep, and when I can, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Oh, yeah. Then on Wednesday, we go together to Brent Cross. We get a free coffee from Waitrose, and then we go to sit in Patisserie Valerie until we have our lunchtime. And Mrs. Gelber always prepares cheese and tomato sandwiches on plain bread, and we always eat at 1 o'clock. She's a very, very woman. She's a woman of strict regime. On the odd occasion, we do buy a chocolate muffin. Obviously, we share it. But very expensive, £2.80 for a muffin. I mean, you can get a meal in McDonald's for that. And on Thursdays, she checks the value of all my ices. Yes, I will be just 90 next week. My dear wife is 85. We are like brother and sister. We didn't want children. Too expensive. I heard the other day how much it costs to bring up a child to 20 years old. £200,000 plus. I mean, just imagine how many properties I can buy with that sort of money. And then on Friday, as you know, I come to your office every Friday afternoon to go over all my properties. And then Friday evening, Mrs. Gelb and I will go to synagogue. I would recommend it. Very spiritual, very spiritual. Mrs. Gelb says that I'm very spiritual. But I suppose I am, really. I pray every day. I pray in the morning and the evening. I pray for my properties. I pray for my tenants. And of course, I pray for Mrs. Gelber will carry on her good works. We've been married for 55 years. We've never argued. She's a lady. Don't know what I'll do without her. She agrees with me that the tenants must pay the rent. Her father used to own a number of roads in the Upper Clapton. So many properties. Never had a void period. What an amazing man. He used to encourage me to buy properties. He used to say safe as houses. He died of a heart attack in his accountant's office during his year end. He was only 75. 75. We still miss him to this very day. What a memory. He remembered every tenant's first name, and his wife would do the books on a Friday morning. They were also very spiritual. Oh, I think the time is up. I must go soon. Remember, so I would expect all these rents to be paid up. Remember, no excuses. They must pay the rent. And the sun has come out. I always go for a short stroll before the Sabbath. Rabbi is a very learned man. He also has a portfolio of properties. But what he does, he gets his daughters to collect the rents. A very clever man and spiritual too. He knows when to buy. You buy when people are selling, and you sell when people are buying. Simple, isn't it? So very well. Your office, Mr. Hannison, is a mess. I need to get my wife in here for the day. She would sort it out, yes. Okay. Well, God bless, and I see you next Friday. Thank you.